because the German officer shouted retreat, didn't expect the battle to actually come to a complete stop. It turned out it was the Soviet officer who recognized that the other side was speaking Estonian, and both sides were Estonian. In this war-torn era, the helplessness of small countries is just so tragic. The two sides who had stopped fighting stood in place, not knowing what to do. They awkwardly looked at each other, with complicated feelings inside. After the Germans retreated, Rick discovered the other party's ID, and a letter written to his family on a fallen German soldier. At this moment Rick learned that the other party's name was Carl, and that he was actually from the same hometown. Rick was instantly overwhelmed with guilt, and this whole thing weighed on his heart like a giant rock. Not long after, a Soviet political officer arrived at the scene, and questioned them about why they let the Germans go. He even threatened to send them to a military tribunal. Facing this humiliation, they could only endure it, because they were all Estonians. Then while cleaning up the battlefield, they also buried the fallen German soldiers. Although both sides had still been fighting just now, but after all the same blood flowed in their bodies. Because of the German retreat, the Soviet army successfully took over the capital, Tallinn, while everyone was getting ready for a peaceful life. But Rick was only thinking about Carl's letter. Then, following the address written on the letter, Rick found Carl's sister Anna that same night. After Anna finished reading the letter, she started crying out of grief. She asked Rick how he had gotten the letter, but Rick didn't have the courage to admit that Carl had fallen under his own gunfire. So he told Anna he found it while clearing the battlefield. Later that quiet night, the two of them poured out their pain to each other. Looking at the beautiful Anna in front of him, Rick started to feel something for her, but inside he still felt very guilty. They talked all the way to the church. That brief fate made them embrace in the church. At that moment Anna felt like she had found someone her soul could lean on, but Rick's heart was still full of guilt. So the next morning, he said goodbye to Anna. What he didn't expect was that the Soviet political officer had been waiting for him. Turns out everything that happened last night had been seen by the officer. He wanted Rick to be his informant, to keep an eye on the Estonians wearing Soviet uniforms.